Not only do I want you to get a good shot, I want to look beautiful. Is this look better? Better? Okay. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming out here today. This is a very big day in the quest and the war to fight against e-bike fires here that have been hurting our city over the last few years. I want to thank and invite and welcome my colleagues here who are here. We have Councilmember Gail Brewer from the Upper West Side, who's introducing a bill today in the City Council. We have Councilmember Feliz, who has been a persistent fighter on this and also introducing legislation today, and of course both supporting the legislation we're passing here today, and want to welcome folks from the deliveristas who are such an important part of this conversation. I want to thank them for their support and the work that they're doing every single day here in New York City. Without question, if you are a New Yorker watching the news every single day, you have seen what is going on in our city when it comes to the crisis around e-bike fires. We are here today to address that issue in our communities. And it feels like every single day we are watching stories about fires related to unsafe lithium-ion batteries. So far in 2023 alone, there have been 175 fires, 96 injuries, and 14 deaths caused by e-bike battery explosions. That's an average of about 4 a week. These fires destroy homes, they displace families, and they lead to too many injuries and deaths across this city. And there's no community across the 5 boroughs that is safe from this issue right now. And I can test that in my district last year, there was a heroic rescue by the FDNY after a fire in one of the residential buildings in Midtown. So that's why we're here today. We are here to today, as the City Council votes on Intro 949, a bill that I introduced earlier this year to meet this crisis with the urgency that it demands. And I want to thank my colleagues here and others who support this legislation and called on it early to make sure that not only are we addressing the crisis by making sure there's safe batteries being sold in this city, but that we acknowledge that there are unsafe equipment out there and do something to take that equipment off the streets. The bill that we're passing today creates a trade-in program, a 2-year program, so that people with uncertified batteries and bikes can surrender their dangerous equipment and receive safe replacements at reduced or no cost. An example that many people might be familiar with would be the gun buyback program, where the city puts some money up to make sure they get unsafe equipment off the street. We know that there are folks that can't afford high-priced batteries and bikes, and we will give them and provide them that opportunity to surrender their unsafe equipment and receive a safe replacement. I think we all can agree that nobody wants this unsafe equipment in their residential building or in their homes, and this program will help folks access a safe replacement. Earlier this year, the City Council passed a package of bills to take on these fires, and Local Law 39 of 2023, introduced by Councilmember Oswald Feliz, prohibits the sale of uncertified and unsafe batteries in the city of New York. And this week, that law goes into effect. September 16th, I believe this weekend, that law will take place. So we are stepping in right now to make sure that as we move forward to prohibit the sale of unsafe batteries in the city, that we also provide and extend a hand to folks to make sure that we provide them with a safe replacement to that. I'll give you 1 second. Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. With the program going into place, we want to get this program off the ground and take immediate action so that New Yorkers can get safe equipment and comply with those regulations. In the past few years, third-party delivery apps and their usage across the city have spurred a massive rise in the use of e-bikes. And the folks that are working every single day, we acknowledge that their hard work and that they're serving here, us as New Yorkers, but want to make sure that they have access to safe equipment for their families, for our families, for everyone. We're stepping in at a moment where it is urgent to step in and save lives, and we have worked so closely with the FDNY, with the deliveristas, and with my colleagues in the City Council to make sure we get a program up and running. Ultimately, we do believe the crisis is going to fall on the delivery companies to join us in helping to create safer standards. But at the same time, we have to acknowledge that right here, right now, there's unsafe equipment on the streets, and we need to get it off. So we are going to be introducing, you're going to be hearing about new bills being introduced today by Councilmember Feliz and Councilmember Brewer to help further our efforts to tackle this crisis, to educate New Yorkers about this crisis, and to also make sure that we can make sure there's more safe equipment on the street. We know that there are other programs out there that are well-intentioned, but we still believe that it's out of reach for many people. So that's why we're stepping in here today. We are, as we work to find out a long-term sustainable solution, we believe this trade-in program will provide a very crucial first step and important piece of the process for those who are out there on the streets and provide them the safe equipment that they deserve. I am so proud City Council is taking an immediate major step forward to protect our homes and families, to tackle this crisis at an urgent moment. I want to thank just briefly all the staff here, including my own staff who have been working tirelessly on this issue over the last few months, and of course Commissioner Kavanaugh, Deputy Mayor Joshi, and others who have been working with us, and the deliveries who you're going to hear from shortly, to tackle this crisis. I want to now call up somebody who has been on the forefront of this crisis, fighting it. His law goes into effect this week to ban the sale of uncertified bikes and batteries. He has a new bill being introduced today that I'm the first co-sponsor of, to require apps to make sure that their folks doing deliveries have safe equipment, and has been an overall leader on this issue. Proud to have his support here today. I want to call up Councilmember Oswald Feliz.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm council member. The sun? All right. Let's see. All right. Forward. All right.
There you go.
Sound had to hear your face.
Okay.
No, thank you. Thank you for.
I put you on that.
Better? Ready? All right, that sounded strong today, right? Good morning, everyone. I'm New York City Council Member Oswald Feliz. I'm proud to join my colleagues and our deliveries, and I want to start by congratulating our Majority Leader, Keith Powers, on making this battery swap program a reality in the city of New York. This year, we've had 175 fires caused by defective e-bike batteries. Numbers very similar to last year, when we had 220 fires approximately in 1 year due to defective e-bike batteries. This is incredibly concerning. These are fires that are extremely aggressive, powerful, destroy our homes, and put all of us at risk. And we can only resolve those fire safety challenges by making sure that our workers have access to safe and certified e-bike batteries. And that is exactly what we're doing today by creating a battery swap program where workers can trade in their uncertified batteries, trade it in either free of cost or at a very low cost for one that is safe, one that they'll be able to use and charge at home and in other places without putting anyone, including themselves, at risk. Batteries that are certified are much more safer. We know that they're more safe. They've gone through fire testing, and they have tools that prevent malfunctions such as overheating, overcharging, and other things that lead to fires and the explosions that we've seen. So I want to congratulate our Majority Leader and our Gail Brewer, our council members, Eric Botcher, and our entire council and our deliveristas on finally making this a reality in the city of New York. It's a crucial step that will help us put an end to the fires that unfortunately we're seeing far too often. On top of that, we're doing much more. On top of that, today I am proud to be introducing a bill that will require that the delivery app companies play a role in helping us resolve the fire safety challenges that we continue to see. Require that the delivery app companies play a role by ensuring that their workers have access to safe equipment, by requiring that if their workers don't have safe equipment, the delivery companies will be required to provide that safe equipment. These delivery workers, they work extremely hard, and these companies have their biggest market right here in the city of New York. They have their biggest market in the city of New York, and they should be helping us resolve the fire safety challenges that we are seeing far too often. So I'm looking very forward to making that bill a reality as well in the city of New York. And I just gotta say, in the city of New York, we are leading. When it comes to e-bike fires, this is a global problem. We're seeing this same issue in every single big city. But the difference is that here in the city of New York, we are leading, and we're gonna make sure that we put an end to all the fires that we continue to see. But we're also gonna make sure that our delivery workers have all the access in the world to safe and certified batteries so they're not put at risk. So I want to thank everyone who has made this a reality. Briefly, quick, brief statement in Spanish for the Spanish media. Le quiero dar las gracias a todos mis colegas por todo lo que han hecho para contener los problemas de incendios que hemos visto por bicicleta eléctrica. Hoy nosotros vamos a pasar legislación requiriendo un programa donde personas y nuestros deliveristas puedan intercambiar su batería que no sean seguras y no certificadas para una que sea segura. Porque nosotros solamente podemos resolver este problema cuando ellos tienen acceso a baterías que sean seguras. A la misma vez, hoy yo también estoy introduciendo legislación requiriendo que las compañías también nos ayuden a resolver esta crisis, dándole baterías que sean seguras y certificadas cuando los trabajadores no tengan baterías que sean seguras. Hemos tenido 175 incendios este año y tenemos que ponerle un acabe a este problema. So muchísimas gracias. Thank you to all my colleagues and our delivery workers for making sure we tackle this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Feliz. Thank you for his leadership as well. I want to also acknowledge we've been joined by Councilmember Bottcher from the west side of Manhattan. Before I get to the other electeds, I want to call up one of the representatives from Deliveristas who have been absolutely fantastic partners and obviously bring their experience and testimony to this issue. So thank you so much. I think who's Gustavo here? Okay, call up Gustavo Ache from the Deliveristas.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here with us.
Say your name.
Okay, my name is Gustavo Ache, and I'll let you later. Okay, my name is Gustavo Ache, and I'm a leader from Los Deliveristas Unidos, and I just want to say thank you to the council member Power for this really great legislation who's passing today, and this is going to be huge help and support to all delivery workers around New York City. And I'm going to send some words in Spanish. And gracias al concejal Power por esta legislación histórica, diría yo, que va a ser de gran ayuda para todos los repartidores de la ciudad de Nueva York, ya que por el momento es complicado conseguir baterías certificadas en la ciudad de Nueva York, pero a través de este programa vamos a lograr a que la ciudad de Nueva York sea segura para todos, no solo para los delibristas, sino que para todos, ya que los delibristas cargamos nuestras baterías en nuestras casas y eso hace también que nosotros corramos el riesgo también de incendiarnos en nuestras casas, pero este programa va a ser de gran ayuda y gracias al Consejo Municipal y a la Administración Adams por siempre trabajar en conjunto con nosotros los delibristas, ya que nosotros anteriormente usamos bicicletas regulares, pero la pandemia nos forzó a que nos moviéramos a las bicicletas eléctricas para poder cumplir con las demandas de las entregas y para que las entregas sean más rápidas. Y hoy día estamos contentos de poder seguir trabajando y vamos a seguir trabajando en conjunto con el Consejo Municipal y la Administración Adams para que la ciudad de Nueva York sea cada vez más segura para todos. Gracias.
Thank you guys for all your help and assistance on this important issue. I want to call up a colleague of mine who also has a new bill being introduced here today, but has been talking about this issue. We have a little bit of malfunctioning happening over here. Thank you for our next fielder for the New York Yankees over here. But Councilor Brewer has been talking about this issue and has been on this issue early and has been a great partner. So I want to call her up as well, Councilor Gail Brewer.
Thank you very much. I am Gail Brewer, City Council from the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And this is a really important issue. I want to thank Council Member Powers for making sure that the swap is something that will work. And certainly Council Member Feliz and I, he's not only doing education today, but he also is making sure that batteries are certified. And I passed a bill a while ago stating that secondhand batteries should not be sold. I think the fire department finds it helpful, but on the other hand, some of these owners are playing games with how they approach that issue, and they are needing at the fire department to even amend that bill so it's stronger. So I think the answer to the question of how do you stop the fires because they are dangerous, and how do you keep the deliveristas, the 65,000 men and women who are doing this amazing job, able to do their job safely, go home safely, and make sure their neighbors are safe. And that's what we're all about. I also want to thank the deliveristas because we just had a meeting on the west side to talk about generally how we can support the deliveristas, how we can make sure that they have the tools they need to do their job and be safe. So everybody is trying to make this amazing industry work. So I am introducing today a bill that would require the Department of Transportation to update its existing commercial bike safety course to include safe and lawful operation of e-bikes and mopeds. This includes rules of the road, parking regulations, the whole issue with batteries, lithium-ion, safety, and more, because obviously there are a lot of new players in the issue of deliveristas, and they are not getting the kinds of education that they need. Second, this bill would require the app company to distribute DOT's bicycle safety course materials to the workers. And third, it would require app companies at their own expense to give delivery workers safety equipment, including the headlight, tail light, reflectors, brakes, helmet, and the bell, and any other kind of audible signal that's necessary. We did this years ago when I was in the council before with the stores. But now we have apps, because people don't work for stores, they work for apps. This is incredibly important. I'm also introducing a resolution calling on the state assembly and the governor to sign. It's a bill that is sponsored by Liz Kruger, state senator, assembly member Dinowitz, which would require lithium-ion batteries sold in New York to be used in e-bikes and other electric mobility devices. They must be, along with Councilmember Feliz, UL certified and labeled as such. And there would be a hefty fine for retailers who did not do that. And it also would replicate and enforce, obviously, any city council law that we're talking about today. So this is an important issue, not just for the fire issue, but there's one other. If you can't have a safe battery, then you're going to go to an illegal moped, which is what some people are doing. We want to keep the legal e-batteries able to be used safely by the amazing deliveristas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember. And lastly, we're joined by another colleague of ours in Manhattan who has experienced these fires in his district tragically and has been joining us in this fight against unsafe equipment here in the city. I want to call up Councilmember Eric Botcher.
Thank you very much, Majority Leader Powers and all my colleagues. Sometimes public policy is slow to catch up to realities happening out there in the city, and that's what's happened with this issue of unlicensed or uncertified batteries. Here we're seeing already this year 14 deaths already this year, and each one of those deaths was totally preventable. So this city council has been taking action, passing legislation to ban the sale of these uncertified batteries that are very unsafe. And the legislation that I'm so proud to co-sponsor, requiring the Department of Transportation to update its training materials to incorporate these issues, requiring these delivery app companies to ensure that their workers have the right kind of equipment, and establishing a trade-in program, because the reality is that the certified batteries are significantly more expensive than these uncertified, unsafe batteries. So we have to create the programs for our delivery workers and others to be able to trade them in and get the safe equipment. This is going to save lives. This current trend, if it continues, it'll become more and more deadly for our neighborhoods. We've had a number of these fires in my council districts. I know all my colleagues here have had these fires. They're totally preventable, and that's why this legislation is so important, and I'm so proud to support it. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Councilmember. We can take questions. Hold on, we're taking questions. Okay, sir, we're doing this is a press conference. We're taking questions from reporters. We'll say yes. Go ahead. We'll take you and then you. Go ahead. So today we're passing my legislation, which is a swap out program, so you can do the trade-in program. We have two bills being introduced today, Councilmember Brewer's bill and Councilmember Feliz's bill. So these are two new coming in today. What we're doing today in the City Council is voting on the swap bill. Yes. Right, so there's 3 steps to this process. I'll go through them. Number 1 is this week, the law that we passed earlier this year goes into effect. That would ban the sale of uncertified equipment, batteries, or bikes in the city of New York. To fill in the gaps of that, we're passing in a law today, my bill, which would create a swap program for people who do have unsafe batteries. And then we have some new bills being introduced today, which have to go through the normal process.
But my bill is already illegal to sell swapped batteries. It'll be better with the ones that are certified.
Good, yeah.
It's already illegal.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. So this program we're doing today is a city-funded program. It's for 2 years, batteries and bikes. We included bikes because there is an issue about compatibility, and they're also a concern from the administration, from the apps and others about compatibility. And the apps are on board, deliveries, everybody's on board because in this case it's a city-funded program. Councilmember Feliz's bill, if that ever were to go in effect, would be actually putting the onus on the apps to do an effort here to make sure they're certified equipment. The program we're doing today is to bridge the gap between the law that's going into effect, future efforts, by creating a city-funded program. A lot of the eligibility criteria is going to be happening in the rulemaking process with DOT, FDNY, and the agencies who are going to be implementing the program. But it's essentially a stopgap measure right now to make sure that the equipment's out there as we take an effort to take the required certified equipment to be sold, that we recognize there's uncertified equipment out there. And so it's a 2-year program. We run by city agencies, funded by the city, and will hopefully help get a lot of these guys off the it's a multi-million-dollar effort. We don't know. We're as part of the rulemaking process, we'll take the criteria then to determine the cost. So that will happen next couple months. Go.
Two-part question.
Yeah.
So the first is, it seems practically speaking, that this effort is going to fall on the workers to be able to want to turn in their batteries. How are you going to spread the word?
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, what do you do with all of the collected faulty batteries, and do you incorporate any kind of involvement with the actual chargers?
Yeah, good question. The chargers are part of the batteries, so that would be part of the swap. And what was the first question? Sorry. The first question was how you spread the word. So when the City Council earlier this year had in our budget response actually called on the city to do a program like this as part of the budget process, and then we would have to Julianne's question, allocated amount of money set aside for it. In that program, we actually wanted to set aside money too for education and outreach, not only just swap, but do the education outreach. We think as the city agencies are starting to get this program up, it's going to require an outreach program. But we also know that the apps, and we think that our friends here, the deliveries, are going to help us in that effort to get that word out. The apps are obviously invested in this because it will make sure their people that are doing deliveries for them will get safer equipment, so we think they're going to partner with us. There is, by the way, to your question earlier, a program that has been reported on that the apps are doing as a swap-in program as well. I think it's a rebate, a loan program that hasn't seen a lot of success so far. So we think there'll be assistance from them as well. But there's going to be an all-in effort here to make sure that, and we're going to work with all our stakeholders and communities to make sure the word gets out. I think we're all invested. By the way, we have bipartisan support on this bill. We have a broad coalition here. We think the word's going to get out. To your question about what do you do with the materials, it's going to be working with the FDNY to figure out how to properly dispose of that material. We're working with the FDNY on it, yeah. We're doing the reporters right now. Dick. Talking about for mopeds, it is something we've been looking at. I think Councilor Brewer is still, and I've actually talked to the administration about. We recognize that problem. We've been talking to the deputy mayor's office about further measures ahead. I don't have any details yet on that. We can stay in touch as we do that, but certainly a problem that we do recognize could
Very
be.
much so.
Sure.
Gustavo, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
stepping to the mic. Are you at all concerned about your fellow delivery workers being scared to come forward to turn in their batteries?
Yeah, it's a lot of concern so far, but this bill, the power, council member power bill is gonna be a really big help for us because so far there is not easy to get like a certificating battery out there. So it's really hard to find. It's not that many too. So I think there is a lot of work to do to researching where we can get the best battery to bring to the city because nowadays you can go to internet, you can find anything. So I think we have to work closely with that too. So we have to make sure to bring this to make the city safe because we use the battery at home, we use it for to work, and then it's a lot of things we have to address and we have to focus on.
En español, Gustavo, por favor, porque la mayoría de estas personas que van a verse afectadas son hispanos que como usted trabajan en esto y muchos van a tener miedo de devolver esto. Muchos no tienen el documento, muchos están aquí ilegales.
Pues por eso estamos nosotros como los de Libristas Unidos abocando para que esta ley sea accesible para los delibristas. El enfoque creo que es también para los repartidores de comida que se acerquen a la organización y vamos a trabajar un programa de cómo pueden hacer ellos el cambio de batería o bicicletas o van a haber opciones y hay que trabajar y depende también del fondo que haya.
¿Usted conoce algún hispano que haya muerto en un incendio?
Hay mucha gente que ha muerto, han perdido familiares y es por eso también que nos preocupa estos incendios, ya que los últimos, desde el 2020, cuando llegaron las bicicletas a hacerse populares, las bicicletas eléctricas, hasta hoy día ya son casi como 500 incendios los que ha sucedido en toda la ciudad y han muerto mucha gente. Y nos preocupa también porque nosotros usamos las baterías en casa también, las cargamos en casa y estar en casa con ese miedo latente no es nada seguro.
En las casas. ¿Y cuál es su apellido, Gustavo?
Gustavo AJCHE.
Okay. What else?
The measures that are being introduced today requiring the app to provide safe equipment towards here the shop.
Yeah.
How would that be enforced?
You're talking about the new legislation being introduced today. Okay, so we'll get time, Councilor Feliz.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for the question. So my bill will require that delivery apps pay for these certified e-bikes if the workers do not have certified safe equipment. Now, the fines would be up to, let's say, $1,000 more or less for the first offense for those companies that don't provide the safe and certified e-bikes or batteries as required by law, if and when the bill takes effect.
And how would you enforce that? Would there be inspections? I mean, how would you know?
Yeah, that's a very complicated system. We would be the first ones to be creating this type of program in the entire nation, to my knowledge. So right now we're working on the technical details, but there are a few ways, including, for example, when a worker comes into a restaurant to pick up the food, maybe some of the workers in the restaurant could just verify that it's a certified e-bike. But nothing's set in stone yet. We're still working out the details. Very complicated, and we're thinking about all those questions.
Okay. Thank you. All right, thank you guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Refuse to answer my question.
All right, sir.
Now you're gonna run. Right? You're gonna run or you're gonna answer.
Okay.
You're gonna run. There you go. You're
Enough,
gonna run.
enough,
There you go. That's what you get for the city council.
Enough.
That's what you get.
Okay. Thank you
Do not
guys.
support 758.